Fought from 1939 to 1945, World War II was a global conflict involving the major world powers. During this period, the rapid advancements in aircraft technology were a pivotal element in the success or failure of military operations across all theatres of the war.
Ravji Boy here, welcome to the brand new series where we pit iconic World War II aircraft against each other in a battle to see who achieves aerial superiority.
In this 7-episode series, we'll dive into the engineering marvels and battlefield legends that ruled the skies of the mid-20th century, from bombers that turned cities to rubble, to fighters that became the very embodiment of domination. We will explore, compare and understand the flight physics behind the ingenious machines of the past.
Using a bracket of elimination consisting in head-to-head rounds and ferocious clashes, we will witness which one of these aircraft is crowned as the greatest warbird of World War II.
This is how the system works. We're breaking it down into 4 main categories: bombers, fighters, strike aircraft and interceptors. These aircraft will be judged on their innovative design, speed, firepower and most importantly their impact on the war. In each episode, we'll examine the contenders from every major nation and slowly narrow down our list until we find the unquestioned champion.
That said, now it's time to buckle up as we explore the engineering wonders that created modern aerial warfare.
This is Warbird Showdown, the ultimate aircraft of World War II. In today's episode, we're focusing on the giants of the sky, the bombers. These flying behemoths aren't meant to be fast or sturdy. Their sole purpose is to carry explosive armament towards enemy territory and drop their large payloads to devastate anything beneath them.
Since only one bomber can emerge as the ultimate heavyweight champion of the skies, let's first determine the best bomber of each nation before pitting them against each other in the final showdown.
In this episode, we'll explore all the main bombers from the 3 Allied powers, the USA, Great Britain and the Soviet Union. All the World War II bombers from the Axis powers will be detailed in part 2.
I must note, however, that countries such as France or Poland will not be included since they were conquered early in the war and their air force was unfortunately not able to make any major impact during the conflict.
So let's start with the United States. Boasting a wide variety of medium and heavy bombers, the US was more than confident to attack. Taking a look at each one of these aircraft, we first come across the fabulous North American B-25 Mitchell and Martin B-26 Marauder. These medium bombers were known for their versatility and reliability. Initially designed as a level bomber, the B-25 took on many different roles including low-level strafing and anti-shipping missions, whereas the B-26 was used to attack Europe in operations such as the Normandy campaign. Both warbirds usually carried 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of bombs and possessed no less than 12 50 caliber Browning machine guns, 5 as offensive armament and 7 as defensive. However, the B-26 flew at a top speed of 507 km per hour, notably faster than the Mitchell's maximum of 442 km per hour. The B-25 is most famous for the Doolittle raid over Tokyo in 1942, the first American air raid on the Japanese homeland, which boosted American morale early in the war. It also extensively served in the Pacific, Mediterranean and European theatres. On the other hand, the B-26 earned a reputation for its speed and resilience, but also for being a challenging aircraft to fly, leading to the nickname Widowmaker. Nonetheless, it became one of the safest bombers to fly by the war's end, finishing with a rather low loss rate during missions above Germany. As we enter the heavy bombers section, we find the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress, a name that still echoes through the annals of aviation history, and the consolidated B-24 Liberator. These heavy bombers were designed to withstand significant damage and continue flying, thanks to their robust construction and formidable defensive armament. In their latest versions, the B-17 and the B-24 flew at over 500 km per hour and carried up to 8,000 pounds of bombs, but in shorter missions, the Flying Fortress could carry an astonishing 17,600 pounds of suspended armament. Moreover, its merciless 13 defensive 50 caliber machine guns earned its reputation as a flying fortress. The Liberator had 3 guns less than the B-17, but in return was blessed with the innovative Davis wing, designed by aeronautical engineer David R. Davis. This wing featured a highly efficient airfoil with a longer, narrower design that reduced drag and increased lift, allowing the bomber to achieve greater range and fuel efficiency. This was a drastic change from the B-17's thick wing, which made it a larger but more rigid target for enemy fighters. Both aircraft formed the backbone of the American strategic bombing campaign against Germany. They played a crucial role in major raids, including the relentless bombardment of German industrial targets, significantly crippling the Nazi war effort. Although the B-24 Liberator was still the most produced heavy bomber in history, it was overshadowed by the Flying Fortress's success because pilots claimed it was harder to fly. To finish the American section, we must mention the Boeing B-29 Superfortress, the most advanced bomber of its time. Featuring pressurized cabins and remote-controlled gun turrets, the B-29 was a technological marvel designed for long-range strategic bombing. The Superfortress's exceptional speed of 576 km per hour, its 10 heavy machine guns, and its astronomically large payload of 20,000 pounds almost guaranteed the bomber's victories against the Japanese. The B-29 is most famously known for its role in the Pacific, particularly in the devastating firebombing campaigns over Japan, and most notably for dropping the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which led to the end of the war in the Pacific. Having said that, the bomber entered service late in the war and was not used in Europe against Germany.
And it's exclusively for this reason that I'm crowning the B-17 Flying Fortress as the best USA bomber of World War II. What can I say? Experience does count. With its high payload and heavy armament, the B-17 Flying Fortress was a solid warbird.
Moving on to the next nation, we come across Great Britain. As we'll see, their philosophy was based on having loads of bombs and not so much armament. First, we have the Vickers Wellington, often known as the Wimpy. This medium bomber was a shining star during the early years of the war, known for its unique geodesic structure created by engineer Barnes Wallis, which made the plane both strong and lightweight. The Wellington was slow, with a humble top speed of only 378 km per hour, and as all British bombers, only possessed light caliber machine guns as defensive armament, 6 to be precise. Nevertheless, it carried a good payload of 4,500 pounds of bombs. The Wellington was heavily involved in the early bombing raids over Germany and played a significant role in the Battle of the Atlantic, where it was used for anti-submarine patrols. Thanks to its innovative construction, it was known for absorbing damage and returning home safely. Before proceeding, I'd quickly like to clarify that I have not included the short Stirling, Britain's first 4-engined bomber, since it was much slower than our next contenders while carrying the same bomb load and suffered from performance issues at high altitudes due to its relatively short wingspan. That being clear, it's now time for our legendary duo, the Avro Lancaster and the Handley Page Halifax, Britain's key heavy bombers. Both aircraft were very similar, versatile, adaptable, and widely used throughout the war. The bombers could reach speeds of around 450 km per hour and carry 14,000 pounds of bombs, being defended by 8 or 9 .3 caliber machine guns. The Halifax was involved in some of the most critical bombing raids of the war, including the devastating attacks on German industrial centres and the bombing of Hamburg, but the Lancaster's achievements are out of this world. It was the only bomber capable of delivering the Tall Boy and Grand Slam earthquake bombs, which were used to destroy hardened targets like U-boat pens, V-weapon sites, and even battleship turrets. But most importantly, the aircraft is famous for the Dambusters raid, Operation Chastis, where modified Lancasters attacked German dams with bouncing bombs, causing massive flooding and disrupting industrial production. I was able to take a good look at the Lancaster and its bouncing bomb in my recent visit to Imperial War Museum Duxford in the UK, but perhaps more of that in a future video.
And due to all of these incredible achievements, I hope no one opposes me when I declare the Avro Lancaster the king of British bombers. You could say that it was the most ideal bomber you could ever have from a British perspective.
Moving on to the Soviet Union, this nation was faced with the immense challenge of repelling the Nazi invasion in Operation Barbarossa, and developed a series of bombers that were rugged and powerful. First, let's check out the Pedlyakov PE-8, the only 4-engine heavy bomber produced by the Soviet Union during World War II. The PE-8 was a symbol of Soviet heavy bombing capabilities, though its production numbers were limited. The PE-8 had a good speed of 450 km per hour and at maximum could carry the impressive Fab 5000 bomb, which, as the name suggests, weighed 5,000 kilograms. Yes, the Soviets used the metric system, thank God. Not only did this giant have 5 12.7mm Berezin machine guns, but also one powerful 20mm cannon. The PE-8 conducted strategic bombing missions deep into German-occupied territory, and was also used in a famous diplomatic mission to fly Soviet Foreign Minister Molotov to the United States and back across the Arctic route, a significant feat at the time. When you boil down all the elements that make an ideal medium bomber, you get the Tupolev Tu-2 Bat, a twin-engine bomber that became one of the most successful Soviet aircraft of the war. This aircraft had many twin-engine cousins, such as the YER-2, the PE-2, or the IL-4. But simply comparing the Bat to its other Soviet predecessors would be a very unfair battle, since the Tu-2 was basically their upgrade, a plane that had it all. It was very fast, versatile, and capable of carrying out both tactical and strategic bombing missions with precision. It could reach speeds of up to 550 km per hour and carry an astonishing 3,000 kilograms of bombs. In terms of armament, this wasn't its priority, but the Bat boasted 2 offensive 20mm cannons and 3 12.7mm defensive machine guns nevertheless. The Tu-2 played a crucial role in several key Soviet offensives, including the Battle of Berlin. Its speed and maneuverability allowed it to evade enemy fighters and flak, making it highly effective in ground support and interdiction roles.
And due to its amazing versatility in combat, we'll be selecting the Tu-2 as the greatest World War II bomber from the Soviet Union.
That said, now we've got our winners from today. These are the very best bombers from the Allied powers, which will move to the next round. In part 2, we'll look for the bombing champions of the Axis powers and finish our first list of contenders.
The 7-episode journey has just begun, so stay tuned to Warbird Showdown, the ultimate fighter of World War II, and have a fly-tastic day.